Hi, my name is Constance Champolcari, and today I'm going to be talking about can a vegetarian diet decrease your risk of cancer? In my first slide, I provide an overview of what a vegetarian diet is. A vegetarian diet consists of no meat consumption. A well balanced vegetarian diet provides an adequate amount of protein, healthy fats, and carbohydrates through fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, and dairy. The benefits of eating a primarily plant based diet is the great source of fiber they provide, which helps improve digestive health and regulates blood sugar levels. It also decreases the risk of heart disease, obesity, and diabetes. Eating plant based can increase energy levels because fruits, vegetables, and whole grains allow the body to use the nutrients it needs to function optimally. As for the specific cancer I chose, I wanted to look into colorectal cancer and how a vegetarian diet can affect the risk factors. Colorectal cancer starts in the colon or the rectum and is caused by cancer cell growth in the lower area of the digestive tract. It is stated that about 90% of colorectal cancer is caused by decades of poor diet, such as high fat and low fiber diet and alcohol consumption, as well as tobacco use. This slide is the effects diet can have on one's risk of getting cancer. One factor is being overweight because it can greatly increase your risk of being diagnosed with colorectal cancer due to the overconsumption of processed foods and high cholesterol. A diet that is high in red meats, which include beef, pork, lamb, and liver, can also lead to a higher risk of colorectal cancer. When meat is cooked at higher temperature, it introduces chemicals that can raise the risk of being diagnosed. Having a diet that consists of primarily plant based foods such as fruits, vegetables, and whole grains can complete a balanced and healthy diet that sustains your nutrient needs and protects your risk of developing colorectal cancer. The first study I looked into to back up my hypothesis of a vegetarian diet lowering your risk of being diagnosed with colorectal cancer was a cohort study, which the central goal of was to highlight the health benefits of a Western vegetarian diet. The key method to this study was a pooled analysis of data from 5 prospective studies. This involved gathering and combining data from multiple sources to increase the sample size and statistical power of analysts. The researchers examined mortality data for various causes, including the 5 most common cancers, and the outcomes between vegetarians and non vegetarians. The study used statistical techniques to calculate death rates, ratios, and confidence intervals, allowing for comparison between the two groups. In conclusion, the study found that the mortality rates for the 5 most common cancers slightly differed between vegetarians and non vegetarians. Vegetarians were at lower risk of most of the cancers, but for the most part, it was very similar data. But vegetarians did come out to have a lower risk of being diagnosed with one of the 5 most common cancers. The second study that I researched to back my hypothesis was a systematic review study. The central goal of this study is to understand the health effects of a vegetarian diet on the common chronic diseases. The method used was drawing conclusions of the impact of vegetarian diets on common chronic diseases such as coronary heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and cancer. The conclusion of this study were that vegetarians scored higher on the Healthy Eating Index of 2010, mainly due to their better consumption of fruits, whole grains, plant based proteins, and sodium intake. This research found that vegetarians were linked to lower rates of coronary heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and lower LDL cholesterol levels. And vegetarians cannot have seafood, which it says seafood in this conclusion, but this study had some pescatarians in it, which can eat seafood, but for the most part, the vegetarians in this study also had a lower level of getting diagnosed with these diseases. My last study to back my hypothesis was a cell study. The goal of this study was to assess the health impacts of vegetarian diets. It evaluates the intake of key nutrients such as vitamin B12, vitamin D, fatty acids, calcium, iron, and zinc, as well as the benefits of vegetarian diet in reducing body mass index, cholesterol levels, blood pressure, and rates of chronic diseases compared to non-vegetarian diets. The method used in this study involves evaluating the dietary practices of vegetarians and analyzing their nutritional intake. Researchers may compare these findings with those of non vegetarians to understand the differences in health and nutrition between the two groups. In this conclusion of this cell study, vegetarians typically had lower overall cancer rates than non vegetarians, primarily due to their lower body mass index, which is BMI, and a higher intake of plant based foods, which enrich the body. I wanted to provide some vegetarian meals just to give people a start of how simple it is to eat vegetarian and incorporate in your daily routine and life. So, the first option is a breakfast choice, which is yogurt, which ideally would be Greek yogurt because it's high in protein, and a fruit such as a banana and a healthy fat, such as peanut butter in this bowl. And you can add some chocolate chips or granola in it as well for some flavor. And the next meal provided is a pasta salad with a bunch of fruits and vegetables, fat from avocado, carbohydrates from the pasta, fibers from the vegetables, and it's a good start for someone who wants to become vegetarian. The last meal is tofu, rice, and zucchini, which is the ideal food groups of protein, carbs, and fiber to end the day, and hummus as a healthy fat, so it's a perfect, well rounded meal. In conclusion, vegetarians genuinely have a lower overall rate of cancer due to the lower BMI and higher intake of plant based foods. They are at a lower rate of being diagnosed with colorectal cancer, and when a diet is rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, there's a lower overall risk of cancer.